Adoption? No. Just a vigilante care program. By Orphaned Account, on AO3. Episode 5. Chapter 5. You look dead, Deku remarked as Shouta came to join them on their rooftop. Shouta side-eyed the vigilante. Deku's eyes crinkled, meaning the kid was smiling at Shota's exhaustion. Glad to see this is a source of amusement for you. You couldn't really blame him for being exhausted. For some reason, as he thought, given the experimental class 1A had been going through, they needed a sense of normalcy, resulting in Shouta, now their homeroom teacher, for 2A, just when he thought he was leaving the kids. He was 100% certain Nezu was simply doing this for his own enjoyment. Shouta would get to watch them grow closer than he usually did, so he supposed he could put up with the kids in the time being. You okay, though? If you pass out, I'm not taking you to the hospital. Deku was smirking under the mask. Shouta knew he was smiling. You try keeping a bunch of 16-year-olds under control. Deku coughed awkwardly. That was another thing Shouta noticed. Deku didn't hate when he spoke about UA or his class, but he was certainly uncomfortable. Teenagers really do suck, Deku declared, making his way to the ledge. Well then, Eraser, I'll be off now. I've got some villains to go beat up. Shouta watched the vigilante's back as he moved further away. It was comical how much the vigilante changed in the span of a week. Conversations were always one-sided and felt very forced. Deku still didn't reveal any personal information and was worried about a lot of things, but his Quirkless reveal changed him. He now seemed more comfortable in general. Hizashi had even commented on how Shouta seemed more pleased after patrol than usual. For all the unpredictability Deku had, he was rather cliché, opening slowly and only trusting when the biggest secret was revealed. If only Shouta had somehow convinced the boy about being a hero. Whenever he brought up the subject to Deku, he shut down, sometimes ditching him, other times remaining quiet. There was still something off about the vigilante, though. Shouta had only noticed after Deku opened up to him once. He never went home in the same way. At first, Shouta thought it would be to throw people off, but he went home through different parts of the city. One day he headed east, the next day he'd be going north, then going towards the factory districts. It never ended. He knew Deku was a cautious person, but that was a little too cautious. He'd waste hours of time circling around till he was home. Shouta knew the vigilante wouldn't continue his patrol, so why bother wasting so much time? After watching the vigilante depart in yet another odd direction, Shouta remembered the winter. The vigilante's hours were gradually reduced. Shouta thought it was because nobody liked working in the cold. Deku wasn't getting paid, so it made sense for him to stay inside more. What if, though? What if there was no home? He knew it was a bit of a stretch, just because the kid went in a million different directions, or could never answer which part of the city he was in, or ever mentioned his living conditions in general, doesn't mean he was homeless. He's probably not homeless, was Hisashi's only response to Shota's theory. Do you really think so? Yes. Hisashi was reading through the newest hero news. Are you even listening? Yes. Honestly, how would you even manage Deku without me? Turning to me for every little problem in theory? Hisashi said rather fondly. I'm sure the forum would love to have their say about our resident vigilante's living conditions. No, Deku wouldn't want his information spread around. Or does Shouta not want to share? Hisashi's voice was giggly. He was enjoying this far too much. Shut up. Deku's secrets aren't mine to share. Okay, then. Regardless, though, you said the boy never goes home in the same direction. He could just be careful. It took him a year to tell you he didn't have a quirk. That's different. It just feels off. Well, he's only in his 20s. What if he's still living with his dad and mom? He doesn't want to get them mixed up in his nighty job. What about the whole winter thing? He was barely around and never had proper winter gear. Like you said, nobody wants to work in the winter. Shouta, I think you're trying to rescue Deku from something that doesn't exist. What? Rescue? What? Why would I be rescuing him? What were you going to do if he was homeless? I thought he could spend a few nights here in our guest room. It's all she finished. Showed a sentence for him. I'm not against having a roommate, but not everyone needs rescuing all the time. He's probably just living his life just fine, Shouta. Shouta nodded disappointedly. Wait, disappointedly? Why was he disappointed the vigilante wasn't homeless? It was a good thing Deku wasn't on the streets. Deku held an arm out to brace himself on the alley wall. Were you hit? Shouta asked worriedly. Deku waved him off, and retracted his hand from the wall. I just got dizzy. Shouta took in the vigilante's state. He was slumped, had a hand resting over his stomach. His eyes seemed unfocused, much like Kaminari whenever someone was lecturing, and he got lost. Deku seemed to compose himself and made a move to grapple upwards. Shouta reached out to grab him. For once, it's not me who's dead on my feet. Shouta tried a joke, but the worry slipped into his voice. You should go home and get some rest. For a brief moment, Shouta could see an emotion, longing, perhaps, flashing into Deku's eyes. Nah, people need saving. Shouta knew Deku was stubborn, but he shouldn't fight if he was tired. You're gonna get stabbed again. Not everyone is as nice as me, and we'll patch you up. Shouta didn't need to tell Deku that there were very few heroes who wouldn't help the kid. He had the entire underground hero community, a few agencies, and even some of the UA staff around his finger. Deku didn't need to know that. I'll be fine, I just need a minute. Shouta nodded his head. Okay, and after that minute, you go home. Deku shook his head. Deku, don't be stupid. You're not an idiot. You shouldn't patrol if you can't do your best. You're Quirkless. Deku cut in, his voice bitter. Shouta let out a long breath. He knew Quirkless discrimination was bad, but did it have Deku doubting anybody's help? Even people who had given him food and stopped the idiot from passing out from blood loss? No, but you're a vigilante, and I don't think I need to remind you that vigilantism is illegal, meaning you will go to prison instead of ending up behind bars. Go home. Shouta knew he got the boy thinking. Deku wasn't an idiot. Even he knew it would be the best to go home. Can't. Can't or won't. Can't. A bunch of worst-case scenarios came flying through Shota's head. Why not? I was kicked out. Shouta raised an eyebrow. You were? He was resisting the urge to roll his eyes. Deku was ridiculously stubborn. Yep. Deku sounded unsure of himself. He pitched slightly to the left before straightening up again. I'll be allowed back home in the morning. I'm supposed to be at a friend's, but went out on patrol instead. Weak laughter came from the green-haired boy. Whoops. Probably should have gone to my friend's. You're not staying out here. Deku made a few protests. I don't care if your landlord would kill you for going back home. Go home and come back tomorrow. Deku shook his head once more. Something Hizashi said earlier came back to Shouta. I'm not against having a roommate. Surely it would be for one night. Then the kid could go back to his home, wherever the hell it was. The kid was probably just making more excuses to stay on patrol longer anyways. Come to my place. Deku's eyes widen. No thank you, Eraserhead. I'm, honored, but... and all, but really... Deku swayed even further to the right. He didn't straighten himself quick enough, and stumbled forwards. Shouta gave Deku a look. He grabbed the vigilante by the waist. Come on. Staying somber for one night won't kill you. Deku protested the entire way back, but he complied nonetheless. He was very antsy once he was inside. You can take our guest room. No, I won't unmask you. You can grab food in the fridge. The window is open and you're free to leave in the morning. For both our sakes, wait till morning when you've actually slept before leaving. Deku gave a sheepish nod and made his way to the room. Shouta knew the boy. He probably wouldn't fall asleep for a few hours. He'd be too nervous in a new environment. By the way, I have a roommate. Deku instantly stiffened at those words. President Mike. He's my roommate. Deku's head tilted. and he looked like he wanted to ask a million questions. The first one being why there was only 3 doors in his apartment. One Deku knew was the bathroom, meaning it was a 2-bedroom apartment, meaning Present Mike and Shouta would be in the same room. Shouta simply gestured to the guest room door, and Deku entered. Once Shouta himself was in bed, he stared at the ceiling. Perhaps soon Deku would reveal his identity. He'd probably never get the kid to be a legal hero, but maybe they could meet in the middle. Shouta closed his eyes with a content smile. He was being shaken awake. Shouta didn't want to be woken up and simply grumbled in return. Shouta, wake up! Someone's broken into the house. Shouta rose quickly. Well, quickly for him. Hizashi was upright, scanning the room slowly. Once he confirmed Shouta was awake, he walked to the door. Who broke in? There was a loud crash from the guest's room. Probably someone went through the window. For a brief moment, Shouta forgot about their temporary guest. It all came rushing back to him. It's not an intruder, it's Deku. Hizashi stopped and turned to stare at Shouta. Deku. You brought Deku home with you? Shouta nodded. He probably should have remembered to tell Hizashi. He wasn't fit to patrol and refused to go home. I brought him here. Hizashi rubbed a hand over his eyes. You go check on what he's doing at 4 in the morning. Shouta nodded and entered Deku's room. The table lamp was turned on. Shouta could see the sheets in a disaster. He walked to the other side of the bed to find Deku, sprawled on the floor. Did you really fall off the bed? Shouta asked the sleeping boy. A low groan and mumbles came from the body. Maybe not sleeping. He rolled the kid over without thinking twice about it. The moment he did, he regretted it. He saw Deku's face grimace in pain. He saw Deku's face maskless. Before he had time to look at him more clearly, Deku groaned again. Shouta perked him upwards. The vigilante limped in his grasp. Deku, what's wrong? He wasn't injured when he went to bed. Then Shouta took note of the beat rate face and the drops of sweat on his brows. He reached out a hand to Deku's forehead. Sure enough, he was burning. Water. The voice was quiet, and Shouta barely heard it. Water. The raspy voice asked again. Shouta gave a nod. Why on earth did Deku patrol if he was sick? He laid the boy back onto bed and left the room. Hizashi was waiting outside the door. He's sick. Hizashi immediately went to the kitchen, calling backwards to Shouta. I'll get the medicine, thermometer, and whatever else. Grab some water. Shouta returned into the room. Deku was still trying to sit up. Shouta laid the boy down again. Water's on the way, just lay back down. You don't need to get up. Deku, in his sick state, didn't argue. Now Shouta could truly see the boy. He really was a boy. His face was skinny, his cheekbones very pronounced. The vigilante was not in his 20s. Unless he had a baby face, Deku didn't look any older than 14, which was impossible. Surely it was impossible. There was no way Shouta had been working with a 14-year-old vigilante. He was so small. He was just a kid. Why was a vigilante? He should be in school making friends, going out on dates. Hizashi came back into the room. He froze upon seeing Deku's face. Hizashi wordlessly handed over the cup of water. Shouta raised the boy upwards and told him to drink. Deku drank the water greedily. Slow down. Deku slowed in the slightest, still desperate for the water. The kid, he really was a kid, was exhausted. His bones limped effortlessly drained down from him. Shouta gently laid him back onto the bed. He stood next to the boy. Hizashi kept staring in awe at the vigilante's young face. Shouta moved away to grab the washcloth Hizashi placed on the night table. No, a weak insistence from the sick boy. Don't go. Don't leave me. Shouta might have laughed if he wasn't worried about him. Deku finally seeking out his company after spending a year trying not to get close to him. Hizashi passed the cloth over and laid it across Deku's forehead. He went slightly in the cold. Don't make me leave, Deku whispered to Shouta when he shifted. I'm not going to leave or kick you out. You're safe, Deku. For whatever reason, the boy sniffed at the name. He tugged ever so slightly at Shouta's nightshirt, attempting to pull him downwards. Hizashi stifled a giggle as Shouta complained. Then Hizashi came more serious. Joe, he's so small. I know. A kid shouldn't be getting stabbed. Shouta could tell Hizashi was thinking of stitching up the boy's leg. He's probably still in middle school, maybe high school. We should do something. What if he is homeless like you thought? He can't be out on the streets. You said he was starving, that's why you gave him food. What if he's being abused, or in the system? I don't know. He doesn't act like a teenager when he talks. He sounds like an adult. He's probably used to taking care of himself. No wonder he reminded me of my class. He'd probably be into that class. Deku mumbled in his sleep. Do you think he'll be mad? I told him we wouldn't unmask him. He was sick and you helped him. There's nothing we could have done. Besides, I don't know who he is. If he's really mad, all we have to do is promise not to search him up in public records. But we need to do something. At least confirm he's safe. If we can't stop him from being a vigilante, right? Shouta nodded in agreement. I guess we'll have to wait till morning, see if he talks. Hizashi left the room and came back a few more minutes later, dragging in an armchair. Night, he whispered, as he laid back as best as he could at the chair. Shouta closed his eyes. He could feel the heat radiating off of Deku. They'll have to give him some medicine in the morning. Shouta closed his eyes for the second time that night. Hizashi woke first, to no one's surprise. He woke Shouta with a few shakes. In case Deku were lucid, it would probably be better for him to be alone in the bed. Shouta switched spots with Hizashi as the blonde went to make breakfast. There was only so much time before he had to leave. He wanted Deku to wake up before then. Deku did wake up, still groggy from his sleep. Something smells good. Hizashi was making pancakes and the smell had traveled into the room. I feel hot. He mumbled. You were sick, and went on patrol. Do you know how dangerous that is? Deku reached a hand to his own forehead. As he dragged his hand along his face, he noticed the absence of the mask. His eyes expanded to the size of saucers, and he stumbled out of the bed. You took my mask off. You promised you wouldn't. The accusatory tone hurt. The boy stumbled through the room in an attempt to find his gear. You took it off to go to sleep and ended up falling off the bed. You're probably trying to get water. When I came in to see what was wrong, the mask was already off. Deku processed this information slowly. I don't know who you are. If you want, I won't look you up either. I do have some questions. Deku contemplated then, recognition coming across his face slowly. His face blushed an even deeper red than it was. I remember. Shouta sighed in relief. He really didn't want Deku to accuse him of lying. Sorry about that. He awkwardly looked at the bed. Deku had stopped moving around the room. The exhaustion seemed to hit him, and he made his way to the bed. He flopped downwards on it, breathing heavily. Shouta grabbed the fever medicine and gave it to the boy. Do you need water for your pills? Deku shook his head, and he took the pill dry. Can I ask you some questions? Shouta asked warily. He knew Deku must be scared out of his mind. The only reason the boy hadn't left was because he was sick. No doubt the fever was clouding his mind still. It's easier if I tell you a few things. You sure? I don't trust you, Deku said, staring out the window, refusing to meet Shouta's eyes. But I know you won't hurt me, or do anything if I tell you a few things. You never told anyone I was Quirkless. Sometimes, if I run into other heroes, they ask about my quirk. If you didn't tell them, then you won't tell them what I'm about to tell you. Right? Shota's mind instantly went to Hizashi. He glanced at the door. Did you tell anyone I was quirkless? Yes. Shouta admitted. It would only do him harm to lie to the boy. I said. With television perfect timing, Hizashi walked in. He observed the situation. I made pancakes? Deku's eyes left the window to stare at Hizashi. He had a look of awe on his face, looking at the hero, making him look far too young. You told him? Deku asked, and Shouta nodded his head. How long have you guys been married? Hizashi choked on air. Almost 5 years. Shouta supplied the answer. Didn't look shocked at the information. I didn't trust him, but he kept the secret, right? Shouta gave a nod. I bet you would have told him everything, right? Another nod. Shouta tried to study the boy, much like how Deku studied everyone else. He didn't seem to be angry. He's seen my face, so I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. Deku whispered something to himself, but Shouta picked up on it. I'm just too tired for this. Then Deku took a deep breath. Just don't tell anyone. His voice cracked lightly at the end, once more hitting Shouta like a slimmer hammer on how young the boy was. My name is Midoriya Izuku. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Chapter 5. Woo woo. Chapter 5. Woo woo. Chapter 5. Chapter 6 now. Chapter 6 now. Chapter 6 is going to be a tad bit shorter. Probably like 19 minutes long. Yeah, 19 minutes long. Seems about right. The first starts with Shouta stares at Deku. Wait, no, not Deku. He's Midoriya now. Izuku Midoriya. There is a dreadfully long pause. Nobody moves. Nothing sparks. As per usual, it's Hizashi who breaks the silence. Kid, how old are you? Midoriya goes bright red, clearly frustrated. I love this! Okay, I screamed. The mic probably didn't pick it up. This mic actually likes you guys. When it's in the CapCut, I have different settings when it's on CapCut. When it's on stream, it hates you guys. And I find it hilarious. Because it picks up on everything. My screams. It sometimes cuts it off. I do notice that. Sometimes. Not always. Just sometimes. But not all the time. Anyways, I am really excited. I love this so much. I am so... Okay. Sorry. Oh, I'm staring at that lemon. I love that lemon. This lemon makes me happy. This lemon is the reason why I'm no longer depressed. Sorry. I'm also a little bit less depressed because my room's a bit more cleaner. There's not clothes screwing about. I still need to clean my desk area. There's random chip bags everywhere. It's not like there's food in it. There's literally nothing in it. It's just an empty chip bag. And then there's random grocery bags. Like, it has nothing in it. There's no groceries in there. It's just a bag. And then there's random yard clippings everywhere. That... I can't. I blame myself on that. I have a designated yarn area. Designated clipping yarn area, but I don't use it. Because for some reason, I just don't use it. And then, for some reason, I have a candy bag there. Since Halloween, it's been there. Storm, leave that alone. Leave that alone. No. I swear. Storm likes to dig in the trash and take out his treat packets, like those lickable spoon treats from Delightful or Delectable or those other brands and stuff. And he likes to lick them and then bite them and then chew them until there's nothing left. And I'm concerned because I think he's also chewing part of the wrapping. Anyways, we finally got a big step up. Izuku got sick. Aizawa and Hizashi are about to find out Izuku's life story. And I am so excited for that. And we're also really close to the end. 8 more chapters. And I think I'm gonna have another orphan fic take this one. Orphan fic. Yeah, another orphan fic. Why not? Mainly because orphan fics are a free game. And there's some really good ones out there. I think the next one I'm gonna do is... Okay, I could either do a Totodeku, a Hot Wings, an Eraser Mic, or a Genfic. And I think I might do the Eraser Mic. Alcohol and Good Decisions. That one seems like a really good one. It's Eraser Mic. Izuku is... I think... Yeah, Izuku is Shota's son. And I think it's really, really cool. And I'm really excited for that. Brew me something sweet? What? Okay, and then there's also Life is Rough, but I am so fortunate to have met you. I've actually read this one myself. It's an Eraser Mic thick. It's not Eraser Mic centric. It is Gen centric, and it is Little Izuku and Eraser Mic and getting adopted and stuff. Then there's By Moonlight. Another really good one. It's really good. It is an Eraserhead fic, and it is super good. I am so excited for that one. I'm super. There's also some other ones and stuff, but I'm mainly super excited for the other ones. I think I'm gonna do Alcohol and Good Decisions. And then from there, I might end up doing another fic, or I might do something else. But for now, Alcohol and Good Decisions seems like a really, really good one that we could do. Or we could do When Sunshine Gems. And it seems to be a gen fic with a racer mic in it. I think it's Shinso, the one that gets adopted, and not Izuku here. Or maybe it is Izuku. Izuku was fine. He had to be. It was everyone expected of him. He was a class Sunshine, so he had to be fine. But what happens if he's not and people start learning about his past? Maybe it is Izuku getting adopted. I don't know. Part of a series? What? It's part of a series that never got completed. So most likely this is not gonna get completed. And we're gonna be ended on a cliffhanger, but that's okay. I love how as I go, my standards for fics slowly diminish. I remember I used to think, I don't want any smut in my fics, and now eventual smut is okay in certain situations. I remember I used to absolutely loathe mpreg, or not mpreg, but just pregnant fics, independently if it was female characters getting pregnant or male characters getting pregnant. I did not give a shit. I did not want to see pregnancy anywhere, right? The second I read those words of woke up the next morning and vomited, oh no, am I pregnant? I exited it out. I was like, yeah, nope. Now, I do not mind a pregnant fic. Then again, I only read mpreg, but I don't mind it, okay? I'm sure I would dig it if it was a female character pregnant, but I don't mind, okay? I do not mind it, right? As for this other fic, baby fics, I hated baby fics. I hated where they had to, a fic where it was like a family and like it was like a baby and raising the baby. I hated it so fucking much, right? I also hated kid fics, where like they were raising kids, right? And then I got into the My Hero Academia fandom, and then, I got into the My Hero Academia fandom, but I got into the subculture of fan fiction in My Hero Academia, because I didn't read My Hero Academia fan fiction in the past. I did read fan fiction in the past, do not get me wrong. Middle school me and elementary school me was reading fan fiction like there was no other. I've been reading fan fiction for years, but I barely, like, 2 years ago, about to be 2 years ago, started reading My Hero Academia fan fiction. And oh my god, was I missing out. You guys have so much. Beforehand, I was reading either creepypasta fanfics, which, ooh, that is a genre. Not the X-Reader. Well, I mean, in middle school, it was a lot of the X-Reader. I was really into Jeff the Killer. I'm gonna be honest with you. Jeff the Killer was hot. I do not think that now. Please. It's Slenderman, clearly. Sorry. I'm sorry, but those fingers? Look at them. I'm sorry. I'm asexual. But what's it called? I'm more into those now. And then I also used to be the type that would not get into major character death. If major character death was sad, I would just absolutely turn the other way. I don't mind major character death anymore. I also realized that uncompleted fics. I never wanted to start uncompleted fics. I always despised them, or unfinished fics, right? I hated them. And then I read somewhere someone better and somewhere better, and oh my god, I fell in love, and they were not completed, and actually we had the hope that it would be on hiatus, but then the author orphaned it. So yeah. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. Like, coming back. At all. If I'm being honest. Yeah. It's not. It's just not. And that's okay. I'm totally not crying in the inside. Okay, maybe I am. Anyways. But as I said, it's just really excited. I'm really excited to move forward with this. What's it called? Chapter 6 and stuff like that. As I said, it might not be finished I think this. No, not this. Not this. The other one that I was gonna move after this, after those 3 days of having adoption. But it's okay. I've lowered my standards. And by lowering my and not only like lowered my standards in what I read, I mean lowered my standards in what I do not accept in terms of tags, right? In terms of tags and in terms of completed or not. I still prefer not to find uncompleted fics, but if they get recommended to me, I no longer just say no. Or like, if it seems like a really cool premise, I'll give it a shot, right? But I have a more open mind now. Woo! Anyways, I think that's all for now. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.